What's up, everybody? More Medic One. Hey, we're back on the Makita blower. We've got this thing running perfect. However, I think I need to adjust the valves on it because whenever you pull the rope, it kind of wants to kick back just a little bit. I don't think it's a flywheel key issue because it runs so good. And this is just like a 4-cycle engine with the compression release on the camshaft. I'm sure this one has it. I haven't looked at the parts diagram to verify, but we're going to come in here and we're going to remove this cover and we're going to get to the valve cover so that we can adjust them teeny little valves. Super simple. We just got a couple of Phillips screws. Got one there, one here, and probably one or two down in here. Not sure if we need to take the starter off or not, but we'll pop it off just to see. Yep, you absolutely do have to take the starter off because the shroud is in behind where it mounts. Once you get those off, you should just be able to pull this right out. It's pretty nasty up here, but we need to get these screws off, but first I'm gonna give it a good bath. Guys, this is my first rodeo. I've never adjusted the valves on one of these, so it is what it's going to be. All right, let's just see what we got up underneath this little old valve cover. Got a gasket, still good. Whoops. And we got our little valves and our adjustment is right here. Alrighty, the spec on these valves are 0.1 to 0.14 millimeter. Just so happens to be the same gap. The distance between the valve stem and the rocker arm is on a steel 4 mix. And as you can tell with the feeler gauge in there, we are definitely out of adjustment. Same as with the intake side, we're not that far out, but we are some out of adjustment. The way that we adjust these, we're going to crack loose these 8 millimeter nuts, and then we're going to use an Allen wrench down in here to adjust the screw, tighten this screw to close this gap, and loosen the screw to make the gap wider. But in our case, we'll have to tighten the screws just a little bit to get the correct valve lash. All right, so we're just going to carefully crack our nut loose. And back it off, you know, half a turn or a turn. And then we're just going to set our feeler gauge in between the valve here. And then we're going to turn in this screw until we just barely have slight drag. little bit more. And there it is right there. I can feel that slight drag. So now you just hold your Allen key in place, and then we're going to tighten the nut. Verify that you still have slight drag, because anytime that you tighten this down, you're going to change the setting just a little bit. Sometimes you might have to adjust this just a little bit tighter than you think it needs to be, because when you tighten it up, you're actually expanding those threads just a little bit. And so trial and error and experience will tell you how much you need to tighten that up. So that's, to me, is perfect right there. Same with the intake side, just crack it in there. Pretty tight sometimes. We're just going to tighten the screw until we have slight drag. It feels pretty good right there. Hold everything in place. Cinch down the screw, the nut, and this is a little bit cumbersome, and this stuff is so tiny that you're just gonna have to work with it the best you can and just have patience. You'll get it. After you've made your adjustment, just make sure your nuts are tight. And then after you tighten these, just make sure that your adjustment is not moved. As you can tell, we're good there. And we're good there. All right, we got our lash set. It's time to put it back together. If your gasket is no good, replace it. But this one's okay, not leaking. So just set the valve cover back on, and we'll tighten these screws down. Slide our engine cover back on. Oh yeah, she runs a little bit smoother. I noticed that it idles better and has better throttle response as well. And the pull rope is easier to pull because you're not fighting the compression. The valve train has a lot less noise in it as well. And she is good to go. Alrighty guys, hey, we got this little old Makita blower going one more time, and like I said, this is my first rodeo adjusting the valves on one of these. Nevertheless, always get dirty when I start filming. Hey, if this content helped you out, give me a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. And while you're there subscribing, as always, smash that bell so that you get all my new videos. Y'all have a good rest of your Monday. More on Medic One.